Welcome back to another episode of the Queenly Conversation Podcast, the space where we learn from our collective journeys, lean into our individual greatness, and level up for the win. I am your host, Shanita Newton, and I'm glad to have you back. I am excited to present what I'm calling the Entrepreneurship Unfiltered Series, just where we share things that we've learned along this journey of entrepreneurship in the hopes that it'll encourage and empower you to not make the same mistakes I've made, and then also to keep pushing forward in your journey as an entrepreneur. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Newton Creative Consulting, a firm that specializes in graphic and web design for small businesses and entrepreneurs. I'm so proud of the work that we do and the businesses and entrepreneurs that we get to help along this journey, and the opportunity to work with so many people doing great things in their communities. And just to give you a little background, I launched Newton Creative Consulting January 1st, 2020, 2 months before the pandemic hit, right? But I'm so grateful that we found favor and we were able to help so many organizations and entrepreneurs and businesses make that really quick pivot that they needed to still remain viable during such an uncertain time. First things first, get you some boundaries. Professional boundaries. Your office hours need to be clear. You can put them in your email signature. They need to be listed on your website. You should have a website, but that's another conversation for another day. You need to make clear boundaries so that your clients know what to expect, and so that when they are trying to reach you outside of your office hours, they can anticipate you responding to them the next business day. It is imperative because you will get burnt out if you don't set these parameters around when you are available to the public. In fact, 42% of entrepreneurs experience burnout. And I think a lot of that is just because there's such a large learning curve when it comes to running a business on your own. You have so many things that you have to get done. And setting those parameters really helps you to prioritize, to create space for yourself and your family. And you want to make sure that you do that, because while your business may be your passion, it is not the only thing in your life that needs your time and your attention. And then to go along with setting boundaries, one thing I had to learn was that not everyone is my client. Sometimes the timing doesn't line up. Other times what the client is requesting is outside of the scope of my bandwidth. And then other times the client isn't ready for what they perceive their needs are. And so there is a way to politely decline working with someone if you feel like they are not your client, and that's okay. The second lesson I learned was to develop a network. So as a graphic designer, people think that you design everything, and that is not the case. So there are things that I don't design that I have colleagues that may, and I can refer things to them, and then vice versa. You develop a rapport with other designers, with other colleagues. You help, and just in your network, it helps you to sharpen one another. There are things that you don't know, and developing a network with others in your field help you to create a pool of resources, if you will. You can call on someone when you need them, and vice versa. And also, it's easier to work with someone you know versus a complete stranger. So if you have someone that needs something, you can refer them to someone that you know and that you trust to get the job done. And developing those networks is just really beneficial for your business, but also it helps you to develop as a business owner. So one suggestion I would have is to make sure you join your local chamber. So in Augusta, we have the Greater Augusta Chamber. We also have the Greater Augusta Black Chamber. And so I'm a member of both of those entities, and it's just really important to develop those relationships with individuals in your field and just from the community at large. Now, my third, fourth, and fifth points kind of going hand in hand, but my third point is to make sure that you delegate duties to your team members. So according to your team's strengths. And so So you can't do everything by yourself, right? You can't grow an entire business by yourself single-handedly. At some point, if you are ever trying to scale and impact as many people as you can, you got to have people on your team that are competent, that are going to be held accountable, and that will help you to push the ball forward. Now, they need to know what they're doing and what your expectations are of them. And you develop these expectations through a series of my fourth point, systems. You got to develop systems and processes so that you know how you're going to intake your clients, how you're going to onboard them, what the process is for you providing deliverables to your clients. So when we take in a new client for a website design, they first have to fill out a questionnaire. After they fill out the questionnaire, then we set up a series of folders for them to upload their content to, and we walk them through the process. We lay out all the steps. I know my web designer, once he gets things, we talk about how we want to look, our vision for the website, and we go to work and we start putting things in place. But if you don't have those processes, it just makes things much more difficult, and there are no expectations. You don't know what your team doesn't know what to expect and what is going to be coming at them at any given moment, and it just slows down the process. So like I was saying, we build our websites in 5 steps. Because we have those 5 steps, we communicate that to our potential clients. We let them know what to expect and what their homework will be in this partnership to help their website go live. And we use email templates that we've created because we've done this so many times to communicate that message. The more that you can automate, the easier it becomes. And after each project, we go back and we fine tune, we debrief to see what we can do better and different next time to kind of help increase our efficiency. It's all a learning game, but it's important for you to have a standard operating procedure for your team. Now, that sounds intimidating, but really, it's just a listing of how you get your projects finished. What's the first step? What's the second step? Who's responsible for this? Who's responsible for that? Who makes sure that all the content gets added to the folder so that we can add it to the website? Who makes sure that the domain is purchased and an email is purchased for your client? Who does a walkthrough with the client at the end to make sure they understand how to operate and add things to their website as needed? And who communicates all these messages? So it's important to have just a listing of how you complete your tasks so that everyone knows what they are responsible for and so that you can hold your team members accountable. By delegating these duties, you are empowering your team members to grow in their gifts, and you're able to impact way more people than you could flying solo. But also, you do not want to become an employee of your business if it's your business. Essentially, you want to get to the place where you can replace yourself in each aspect of working in the business so that you can continue to scale, empower, and impact in your community, right? Then also by delegating those duties, you are able to, my point number 5, balance working on the business versus working in the business. So there's a very pivotal difference between the two. Working on the business is you promoting the business on social media, you going to events, you meeting with prospective clients, you go into the chambers meetings and you go into this networking social hour outside of your business hours. You have to do those things so that you can attract more clients, so that you can grow the business, and so that you can empower more people to join your team to work in the business, which is actually creating those deliverables for your clients and making sure that you are impactful and being a person of your word and fulfilling your business's promise and mission. These first 2 years of entrepreneurship have been amazing, and I'm so grateful that God helped me to push through the fear to get started. And we've learned so much along the way. So boundaries, people, develop your network, delegate your duties and responsibilities to team members based upon their strengths. Develop a series of processes for your business and be sure to balance working on the business versus working in the business. I'm super excited that our team has grown to 4, that is 3 individuals other than myself, that our business empowers and helps us to grow and learn more about ourselves and our strengths. And so it is my hope that today's episode left you feeling encouraged, empowered, and if you've already started a business, you saw some commonalities in what we shared today. And if you haven't started a business yet, it'll give you an advantage and help you get started the right way. Today's affirmation comes from Stephen Bartlett, which says, "Stop telling yourself you're not qualified, not worthy, or not experienced enough. Growth happens when you start doing the things you're not qualified to do." Talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Queenly Conversations podcast. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you are using to listen in today. It helps other queens to find and join our tribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at Queenly_Convos. That's QUEENLY_CONVOS. Until next time, continue to shine, Queen. Talk to you soon.